her. She has been a member of the Unity movement since 2002, receiving her licensed Unity teacher status in 2021. Debbie Long currently serves as a licensed Unity teacher with Unity Halton Peel, sits on the steering committee for Unity York Region, and sits on the Unity Canada board. Debbie is a spiritual singer-songwriter, spiritual life coach, certified sound healer, and Reiki practitioner. She is presently enrolled in the Spiritual Direction Program. With her message, Abracadabra, Magic or Miracle, please join me in welcoming licensed Unity teacher, Debbie Long. So this isn't working, so I'm just going to say next, and you can do the next slide. So next. All right. There we go. So abracadabra, magic or miracle? Everybody needs a magic wand if you're a magician, right? So when I first walked into the doors of Unity of Mississauga, I heard over and over again that thoughts are things and words have power. The more I heard speakers talk about it, the more I became aware of just how negative my thoughts were. And my life at that time definitely showed just how negative I was. I was a complete mess, wanting to blame my mother, my ex, my children, my boss. I was a complete victim queen. I was. And just because I had acquired the awareness that our words are powerful, it took me a long time before I could accept that this was true. I still had a little bit more blaming to do, and I needed to do it before I could get to the point where I could take responsibility for everything that was happening in my own life. And, excuse me, not blame those people in it. So, abracadabra, I waved my magic wand and I was healed instantly. No, that was not my experience in the beginning of this newfound understanding. As a child, I was afraid of magicians. I felt that they knew everything about me, and besides, they could cut me in half. Even as a child, I wanted to be in control, and nobody here knows me, but everybody at Unity of Mississauga would tell you this is true. Still, what isn't an illusion is the power of our thoughts, not magic, but principle. Next slide, please. One of the greatest teachings in Unity is the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produce in the outer after their kind. So when I watched the magicians, especially as a child, I believed that they were doing magic, real magic, even though I didn't know what real magic was. I told myself it must be real. And I would even argue with people and try to prove that it was real, even though I didn't know what I was talking about. Just like we can do now when we believe something about somebody without the facts, we can still do that. Charles Fillmore's greatest teaching has been the law of mind action, which shapes our world. Our world is what our mental process decrees it to be, which includes our senses, our perceptions, our feelings, our emotions, logical thoughts, passionate desires, and imagination. My favorite. Two of us could have the exact same experience at the exact same time and would experience it totally differently because of the thoughts and beliefs we carry from our past experiences through our different senses, perceptions, feelings, emotions, logical thoughts, passionate desires, and imagination. That's why you can raise two children and they're totally different, even though you raise them the same way. Imagination is the most entertaining and the most frightening of all 12 powers. We have the ability to activate it for our good or our struggles. It is the conjurer. It can conjure up thoughts that can frighten or enlighten us. It can conjure up thoughts that can lift us up to joy and plunge us into despair. If we let it run rampant, it may take over our life. Many of us live in our imagination almost as much as our outer world. If we have formed the habit of letting our mind dream up unhappy circumstances and events, living in fear, it will do so whether we want it or not, because we've already given it permission. What we focus on grows, of course. Next slide, please. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Reverend Sandra Campbell. Reverend Campbell wrote about this in the booklet from Unity Worldwide Ministries called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. She was preparing a Sunday talk and looked up the definition of abracadabra. It's Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus used, so they say. Next slide, please. Oh, that's a copy of what the booklet looked like. Next slide. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. That's the definition of abracadabra. There's nothing magical about it. So in unity terms, abracadabra is more miracle-based than magical-based. Next slide, please. Metaphysical meaning of miracle from the revealing word, an event or an effect in the physical world beyond or out of the ordinary course of things, deviating from the known laws of nature or transcending our knowledge of these laws. Now, I'm sure everybody in here has had at least one miracle in their life that they could talk to us about. So today I'm going to share 3 of my own experiences, and you're going to judge whether they're miracles or it was magic. So I signed up for a spiritual life coaching course, and I had 1 week that I had to have the second half of my tuition in, which was $1,350. I didn't have it. So I had met a friend for lunch, and she knows that I believe that if I'm meant to do this, the money's going to come. Don't have to know how, the money's going to come. She said to me, I wish I could feel that way. I said, you can, if you choose to. So we're having lunch, and about 5 minutes later, her phone rings and she answers it. And she said, yes, really, absolutely. She takes out her checkbook. That's how long ago it was. She was writing checks. And she wrote me a check for $1,350. I said, what are you doing? She said, we're rewriting our mortgage, and they just called and said we qualify for $5,000 more than we asked for. So here you go. Abracadabra, I waved my magic wand and I found the money in my account. Yeah, I didn't believe that would happen. Absolutely not. But when I surrendered my abundance and needs and desires to Christ within, in faith and trust, I accepted that if I was meant to take the course, the money would manifest. And if I was not, it wasn't going to manifest, or at least not now. It manifested. And I wish I could tell you that with money issues, I'm like that 100% of the time, but it's not true. I can still go into the fear of not having enough, depending on what the circumstances is. But I know that when I take a step back and I breathe and sometimes need to go into the silence, that if I trust, the money will come if I'm meant to have it, if I'm meant to do it, if I'm meant to go wherever I'm supposed to go. It just happens. So magic or miracle? Next slide. I create as I speak. I spoke my truth to my friend. that I believed the money will come. And it happened. What was supposed to happen for my highest and greatest good turned out. Experience number 2. Last year, I spent the entire year, I was so blessed. I spent the year volunteering at a spiritual retreat center called the Bethlehem Center in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island. It was an amazing experience, one that I really didn't want to come home from. So 3 days before I was leaving to go, I had to go to a specialist appointment. I have nodules on my thyroid. And this was the first appointment with the doctor. It was just supposed to be a checkup. And he said, we need to do biopsies because I have 7 nodules. And they had done 1 biopsy on 1. He said, we need to do more. And he says, but we need to do an ultrasound first. And I says, well, I'm leaving in 3 days and I might not be back for 6 months. And he said, pardon? And he said, I'll get you in tomorrow, which in the Hamilton area is a miracle in itself. And he called me an hour later. He had an appointment for an ultrasound the next day. And he said, and if I still think you need a biopsy, I'll find somebody for you on Vancouver Island, which turned out I did, and he did. So abracadabra, I waved my magic wand, and there was nothing wrong with my thyroid. Would that relieve my fears of cancer? Absolutely not. Not in that moment. So I came back in June. Actually, the doctor had found a doctor out there. He hooked me up and he agreed I needed a biopsy. So I have 2 doctors who are agreeing. But long story short, he wouldn't do it. So I came back. I was coming back in June. So I called the specialist and said, can you get me in when I'm there? I could stay an extra week if needed. And he said, yeah, we need to, because I've been consulting with 2 other doctors. So now there's 4 doctors are telling me I need a biopsy. So I wasn't very happy because he couldn't guarantee me that I would have a biopsy, but he asked me to stay. So I had to change my flight, which cost me $150. And if you've ever tried to get from Victoria to Nanaimo, it's a horrific thing without a car. So I lost my ride back. Like I was really not very happy. All along, I knew everything was going to be okay. And everybody I talked to about it, I said that. I know everything's going to be fine. My biggest concern was that the nodules were going to press on my vocal cords and I wouldn't be able to sing anymore. But I just knew everything was going to be okay. And I said that over and over and over again. It still didn't stop the fear from creeping in from time to time because, you know, a doctor consulting 2 other doctors and now 4 of them are saying I need a biopsy. It's hard not to go to that place sometimes, but I didn't stay there very long. And I kept saying everything was going to be fine. And I don't know how I knew, but I knew. So he got me in for another ultrasound. So they knew exactly which ones that they needed to biopsy. And while I was actually having the ultrasound, they called with an appointment for the biopsy the next week. Great. That was Friday. I was having the biopsy the next Friday. On Monday, I got a message from the doctor. He said, Debbie, I have great news. You don't need a biopsy. I'm on vacation, so don't call the office. I'll call you next week and I'll tell you why. And I'm like, how could that be? How could it be? 4 doctors said I needed a biopsy. How magically could it disappear? Then I remembered when I was preparing for a service about 6 weeks before, I used one part of Myrtle's prayer that she used for healing her incurable tuberculosis. And I was doing that not deliberately about the thyroid. I just started saying it. Next slide, please. And this is what I said. The living spirit is in every cell of my body. I am healed and whole. I connected with the doctor and he told me all the irregularities that were on the thyroid nodules, they're all gone. I didn't need to see him until next year for a regular checkup. He said, Debbie, this is really good news. This doesn't happen. So, next slide. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. I spoke the words that Myrtle used without even really thinking about whether it would work or not. I just felt I needed it to use it, and the miracle manifested. Magic or miracle? The last experience. So I went out to BC. I didn't have a car. So I was out there 11 months, first time since I was 16. So that's, a decade or two since I haven't had a car. And the head chef was going on vacation, and she asked me if I'd like to use her car while she was gone. I said, yes, please, yes. So got in the car Friday afternoon after I worked at the center, and I went down to the mall and walked into the grocery store, and I put my purse in the basket, and I turned like this, and I turned back, and it was gone. Let's just say that going into the silence and the calmness is not where I went. I am running all over the mall. Thank God it was a small mall. I was running all over the place. I am in sheer panic. They've taken my purse, my wallet, all my ID. I can't get on the plane without my ID. But more importantly, the chef's car keys are in my purse, and the car's in the parking lot, and all they have to do is this to get into it. She's gonna kill me. Yeah, I didn't go within to that peaceful place. I was in sheer panic and drama. I'm running all over the mall, looking in garbage pit. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just running. Abracadabra, I waved my magic wand, and my purse suddenly appeared. Yeah, I couldn't even go there. I was in terror for at least an hour. The security guards called the police. It took them 3 hours to get there. So I'm standing looking at the car, waiting for the lights to flash that somebody's getting into it. I didn't have my phone. It had died, so I'd left it in the car. And after the hour of sheer terror, I remembered the song I just sang to you. God never asks us to fix things. Just surrender, have faith, and trust. And I calmed down. For the next 2 hours, I was on a roller coaster going into sheer panic and saying, God, I can't fix this. I surrender it to you. I have faith and trust that everything will work out fine. And then I would go up and I would say it again, and I would go up and I would say it again. About a half an hour before the police officer got there, I finally realized that I have CAA. I can at least tow the car to the center, and it will be safe, and she won't kill me. The police officer, when he finally got there, was absolutely amazing. Within 5 minutes, he had a tow truck there for me. And once I was all set up, he said to me, I'm going to go look for your purse. And I'm thinking, we've looked everywhere. Like, where are you going to find it? And in this particular area of Nanaimo, there's a lot of homeless people. So I'm on my way home, and I say the quote one more time. God, I can't fix this. I surrender it into your hands. I know that I have enough faith and trust that everything's going to work out. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I just know. So by the time I walked into the center, I was calm. The tow truck driver was able to get my phone out of the car. And I plugged it in and did what every woman who's been in panic for 3 hours does. I went to the bathroom. And when I came out, there was a message on my phone. Hi, my name's Sean. I found your purse. Yep. I couldn't believe it, but I did believe it. The police officer met the man, brought the purse to the center, and he said to me, what time did he call you? So I told him. He said, well, this is what I did. We know where on Friday nights the homeless people gather. And he said, and I went to the different groups, and I said to them, This lady had her purse stolen. All she needs is her ID because she's going home and she can't get on her flight without her ID. No questions asked. If somebody brings me the purse, I'll give them $10. And he said they felt really sorry for you. So they're all on their phones, phoning all their contacts. And it was about 15 minutes after he did that to the first group that Sean called me. So, next slide, please. With focused intention, we can bring about new realities in our world. Ellen Davenport. Next slide. I create as I speak. I just kept repeating the affirmation and the miracle manifested. I know that without that affirmation, they probably would have taken me to the hospital because I would have been a complete mess. And how was I going to face the chef that not only was her car gone, but all her house keys, like everything was gone. So magic or miracle? Abracadabra, the magic. I like magic. You know, like those great magicians that they have on America's Got Talent. Like, I'm mesmerized by them and I love watching them and trying to figure out what it is that they're doing it and how they do it. But that being said, it is not something I would rely on day to day to run my life. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. That is something I have and will continue to work on to support me in manifesting the life I truly want. So if you don't like the way things are in your life, change the way you think and speak about them and watch the words you're saying into the universe. It's so easy to not pay attention to what you're saying. And again, I am not perfect, but I know that it works. When you change your mind, your attitude changes. When you change your attitude, you will see things in a new way. You have to let go of who you thought you were to become who you're meant to be. Don't say, well, that's just the way I've always been. Yeah, let go of believing that that's the way you've always been. Become that someone new. You have all you need inside of you to make that happen right here and right now. So the final word goes to Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, from his book, Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. And if we've done it right, that should be the next slide. Nope. I forgot this one. No, go back to that one. And I have to get closer. Go back. One more. Perfect. So this is from the movie God. I don't know if you remember it or not. So this is a quote. Parting your soup is not a miracle, Bruce. It's a magic trick. A single mom who's working 2 jobs and still finds the time to take her son to soccer practice, that's a miracle. A teenager who says no to drugs and yes to an education, that's a miracle. People want me to do everything for them. What they don't realize is they have the power. You want to see a miracle? Be a miracle. So let's go to the next one and give Charles the credit. The power to create smiles or frowns. Words have special powers. The power to create smiles or frowns. The power to generate laughs or tears. The power to lift up or put down. The power to motivate or demotivate. The power to teach, good or evil. The power to express love or hate. The power to heal or harm. Choose your words carefully. And again, Charles Fillmore, the next slide. No, it's not there. So I'm going to read it. Divine mind is the one and only reality. When we incorporate the ideas that form divine mind into our mind and persevere in these ideas, a mighty strength wells up within us. Then we have a foundation for the spiritual body. When the spiritual body is established in consciousness, its strength and power is transmitted to the visible body and to all the things that we touch in the world about us. So what will you choose? Magic or miracle? So let's prepare for meditation. So just take a deep breath. Just let your body relax into the chair that you're sitting in, or at home. If you're lying on the couch, just relax. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And I invite you to take a deep breath in through the center of your chest, opening up your heart and pushing it out the top of your head to clear your mind. So in through the chest, out through the top of your head. And we'll do that 2 more times. I know that I am pure spirit, that I always have been, and that I always will be. There is inside me a place of confidence and quietness and security where all things are known and understood. This is the universal mind, God, of which I am a part and which responds to me as I ask of it. This universal mind knows the answer to all my problems. And even now, the answers are speeding their way to me. I needn't struggle for them. I needn't worry or strive for them. When the time comes, the answers will be there. I surrender, have faith, and trust. I give my problems to the great mind of God. I let go of them, confident that the correct answers will return to me when they're needed. Through the great law of attraction, everything in life that I need for my work and my fulfillment will come to me. It is not necessary that I strain about this, only believe. For in the strength of my belief, my faith will make it so. I see the hand of divine intelligence all about me in the flowers, the trees, the brooks, the meadows. I know that the intelligence that created all these things is in me and around me, and that I can call upon it for my highest good and my slightest need. I know that my body is a manifestation of pure spirit, and that spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect. So in this right now moment, if there is one thing that you are ready to turn over to spirit, I ask you to surrender it, have faith and trust, and take it into the silence to release it. In the silence. Mother, Father, God, Divine, and Holy Spirit, today I ask that you activate the power of my words. Help me to use my words to bring life and not death, blessings and not curses. I pray that my words will be filled with love, kindness, compassion towards others. I ask that you give me the wisdom to speak words of encouragement, comfort, and hope to those who are hurting. Help me to be a source of light in this dark world and to use my words to bring glory and honor to your name. May I always be reminded that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and that what I speak, I call into being. For this, I say thank you, God. Let it be so, and so it is. Amen. Namaste.
How do I thank a speaker singer like Debbie Long? With heartfelt thanks, and hopefully all of you like me will never again hear the words abracadabra without thinking of Debbie and thinking of the miracles in her life, the miracles based on faith, and to let go and to give us absolute personal examples that we can vividly recreate in our own minds gives us a message that we can take away. I thank Debbie for sharing her faith, her humor, her abracadabra magic little wand, and most of all, her talent and her time with us. Thanks so much, Debbie.
Oh, did I do this? So I'm going to get you all to sing with me. So this is a chant that was written by Leah Holcomb, and she is a spiritual singer-songwriter from Gabriola Island, just off of Vancouver Island. And she has 2 CDs out on chants, and she takes quotes from the masters like Rumi and creates these great quotes. So it's zeal. So I thought this was a pretty good one to do. One line, we sing it four times, and then there's a little break. So this is how it goes. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. So we sing that 4 times. First time at the end, it goes up. The second time it goes down. The third time it goes up. The fourth time it goes down. Following that, we go, happiness, 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 happiness. So when we get to that part, if you want to harmonize, harmonize. If I'm singing happiness, you can go happiness, happiness, happiness. You can't do it wrong. You can't do it bad. Just do it. But we all come together when we say happiness. And then we start again. So are you ready? You guys, I know you can do it because I heard some of you singing There's Only Love. So I know we can do it. So here we go. And do it like you're bouncing like a kid. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Happiness, 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 happiness. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Happiness, 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 happiness. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was great. I'll give you a warning though. If you start singing that when you lie in bed, it'll keep you awake. I know from experience.
Oh, thank you, Debbie. And we have a new song for Unity of London. Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets to find you. Wow, what a message. Debbie, you are a treasure. You are a treasure. Speaking of treasures, we talk about sharing our time, talent, and treasures here at Unity of London. And dear Kate, our treasurer, and Renee, our vice president of the board, are coming around now to collect if you have anything to share. And as they're collecting, know that you can also share. We know this via via transfer. There are different ways to share. And everything that you share, not only financial, but your talent. We need you. We need you to volunteer. And a lot of you already do volunteer. Those who don't, I just ask you this one question. Is there something that you can be sharing with us at Unity of London or our community that you're holding back on sharing? Just think about it. This isn't just about money. This is about you. And you deciding, yes, I'm ready to share. Let us now join in our prosperity blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And let's join together in sharing this great set of affirmations. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And here we say, yay, God. And please join in a circle for our final song. Now, this is the time when everyone gets so excited they want to talk to each other. So if you want to talk to each other, please go in the fellowship. But if you want to come up here and share about Debbie Long, Renee can't wait to get up here. So come on up here and share, Renee.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to let you know that I met Debbie a year and a bit ago. And the moment I met her, I just felt that there was just a connection, and she's truly a gift. And one of the things that she did last year was she stayed there, and I had to come back. Anyway, just to, and again, I was able to go back this summer to see Debbie. And I had stayed an extra day after this little do that I had gone to on my own time. It was my own little retreat. And Debbie shared just her heart with me and was just very giving and open. And we just happened to cross paths as I was returning back to the retreat, and she was coming to have us sit down at the beach, and it was beautiful. And this is, you know, it was just gorgeous. So just to let her know, and to everybody, that what she says here today, just take it all in, because truly you're a gift, and it's not magic. Okay. It's a miracle. Thank you so much for this day, and just that what you've shared. It's beautiful.
Thanks so much, Renee. Is anyone else ready to come up and share? Wow. They're all feeling the miracle inside. That's it. And I'm not sure if anybody online would like to share. George is coming up. Yay, George.
I appreciate your talk. It's to me, this is the thing about imbibing the unity principles and seeing in fact that it changes your life. Truly does. You had such wonderful examples, and it's interesting. It happens like that when you're ready. Thank you.